Hello everyone and welcome back to another gold mining simulator guide. So you've clicked on this video because you are ready for the tier 3 setup, just like this. As you can see, this one is processing quite nicely, 62%, and basically you are unsure on how to get all of this set up and running. Now what you can do is you can use the guide here, so on tier 3, but this, to be honest, isn't very well done and it doesn't explain to you properly how to set everything up. So that's what guide is for. So first of all, what we're going to do is we're going to head over into town and head to the shop, and I'll show you exactly what you will need to buy. Before we head over there, you should have the magnetite separator and the wave table all ready from when you had the mobile wash plant set up. But let's go ahead and run through everything we need. Okay, so first up is the machine store. So here we are at the machine store. Now with the mobile wash plant, you should have an excavator, probably got a small excavator. You'll probably want to sell that if you have been renting it, and you want to rent this big excavator. Now this won't be used for necessarily digging, but more so for moving the equipment. So daily rental cost is just over 3,000. Now if you want to avoid skipping the days too much so you don't have to spend any rental costs, we head over here to settings and go on to game settings. What we have over here is we have the timescale, so you want to put that to ×1. That will make the days run a bit slower so you don't have to incur any of them costs. Now as I said, you want to rent that or moving the equipment around. So first of all, let's start with the shaker. So the shaker here, so just quickly before we go on to the shaker, all of this equipment you can either rent or you can buy. Now we will go ahead and do all the rental first, so you can see the rental cost, and then we'll go ahead and do it all buy-in so you can see the full price cost. So rental cost here is 4,000, so we will rent that. We might as well go ahead over here and do the same for the big excavator so it all fit on. So we've got that, and then we want to head over just over here and we've got the duplex jig. Now you're going to want 2 of those, so we'll go ahead and do that. Here we have the trommel, you only need 1 of those, and then we have got the sluice boxes. So this is where it can be a little bit confusing. If you read it, the sluice box that connects the shaker with the trommel. So if we head over here to the guide, we can see here that it is basically this one here, which isn't well explained, but it's basically number C. So we only want 1 of those. And then over here we have the sluice box for the rocks, which takes away the smaller rocks from the shaker. So that one over here is B. So we only need 1 of those, so we can rent that. And then this one here is these labeled E here, which goes from the trommel to the duplex jig, so we want 2 of those. Now with the sluice boxes, because they are relatively cheap, if you are renting the rest of them, I would just go ahead and just buy these. They're relatively inexpensive. Now one thing you want to bear in mind with renting is if you haven't got enough money to pay the rental costs, the machine shop will take it away from your claim, so just be prepared for that if you haven't got enough funds. So let's head over here and see. So the total rental cost per day is 12,000 for everything you need here. So we're going to go ahead and delete all of these now. I'm going to go ahead and select them all again, but for the full purchase price. So we're going to go over here. We'll leave the excavator as renting unless you do want to buy that, but we'll leave that as renting because you only really need that for the time being for moving the equipment. So we're going to go ahead and add the trommel. We're going to add 1 of these sluice boxes. We're going to add 2 of these sluice boxes, 1 of these ones, and then we're going to go over to the shaker and the duplex jigs. So we're going to go add that one, and we are also going to add 2 of these duplex jigs. Now one thing I did forget to mention, we are going to need a substantial amount of power, so that's what we have here, the big power generator. So that's 50,000 or 2,000 rental. So where it was 12,000 rental, you just need to add another 2,000 onto that, but we'll add that and we'll see what the total purchase price is. So here we are looking at 278,000. So if you save up roughly around about 300,000, just because we are going to need some extras from the other little shop, as you can see there, it's going to be about 300,000. So we are just going to get rid of these temporarily, and then we'll just exit. We'll head over to the parts shop and I'll show you exactly what you need to get. So what is explained as well, if you want to go for the full hog, which is more sort of the beginning of tier 4, is this here, the conveyor belt hopper and the conveyor belt. Now if you purchase these two, you will be able to use the dump truck with an excavator. So your options are there. The other thing you want to bear in mind is with this beginner tier 3 setup, so without the conveyor belt and hopper, you will be limited to the front loader, which is 152,000 to buy or 6,000 to rent, and that's basically how you'll have to load it, which I will show you all in due course. So let's head over to the machine shop, not the machine shop, sorry, the little part shop, and I'll show you everything you need. So from the very beginning of your first little setup with the hog pan, you will already have a hog pan with pump with the 2 extensions, so that will save you a little bit. So if we head over here to the end, it says here we can, as you've started your mining journey with the hog pan, you will end it with one. So to get a little bit more out of your gold, you can hook up the hog pan and stuff like that, which is what I've got on my setup. I'll show you everything you need to buy anyway. So first of all, what we're going to need is our water pump. So you can either go for the big electric water pump, or we can go for the diesel water pump. I recommend starting off with the diesel water pump. It's less likely to break down. Yes, you have to obviously fill up with fuel, but that's not too much of an issue. If you really want to perfect and optimize your setup, the gold nuggeteer is brilliant for cleaning up your miner's moss. If not, you'll have to do it the old-fashioned way if you can't quite afford this, and dip them into buckets and do it that way, but I do recommend getting this. So we're going to add that. The one thing you want to be careful with while you're purchasing stuff in this shop is obviously your slots for the available purchases. So we'll do this in a slightly different way. So those 2 there, and then what we're going to need is 2 of these huge water hoses. I will be leaving a list of everything we need on the screen as well. So as you can see, I've been adding items as we're going through. So we're going to need 2 of these, one to go from the pump into the stream. You won't need a filter, and then 1 from the pump. We're also going to need a huge water splitter, and then you're going to need 2 of these fat water hoses. Nope, sorry, you're going to need 3 of these fat water hoses. So you only need 2 of these water hoses if you aren't using the hog pans. If you're using the hog pans, you need 3 of these water hoses. For the thin water hoses, you're going to need, overall, you're going to need 4. You're going to need 1 for your magnetite separator, 1 for your wave table, 1 for your gold nuggeteer, and then 2 more, so 5, sorry, for your hog pans with pumps. Now in the older version of the game, sorry to go on another tangent, but this is a very key bit of information. So in the manual it says use hog pans. Now in the older version of the game, just hog pans without the pump used to work because of the water flowing through, but in this version of the game you do need the hog pans with pumps. So that's why we need the extra 2 hoses. So that's all of our hoses set up, and you're also going to need 2 of these water splitters as well, so we'll add 2 of those, and that is the maximum amount of storage slots we have available. So this is where it gets a little bit complicated and hard to keep track, which is why I'm going to leave a list on screen. So with that lot all purchased, that comes to 43,000. So that's all your pumps and your hoses. So we're going to get rid of all of these so we can carry on our shopping list. So there we go. So next, what we're going to need is we're going to need some steel cables for our transport. So I recommend going for the 5. They work pretty well. So you're going to need 4 of those. We won't add them on just because they take up a lot of storage slots, but that will be 76, so that's not a lot of money at all. So now let's work on to power, from our power generator to our machines. So we're going to need 2 of the high voltage cables, 1 for the shaker, 1 for the trommel. We're also going to need an extra one, which is going to go into a splitter. So we'll add those. Low voltage power cables, we need 1 for the magnetite separator, 1 for the wave table, 1 for the nuggeteer, and then we need 2 for the duplex jigs. So we're going to add those as well. You are going to need a power splitter. I use mine to go to the wave table, the gold nuggeteer, and the magnetite separator. The duplex jigs I run straight from the power generator. It's up to you whether you want to use a splitter or go straight from the power generator. I tend to use a splitter, so we're going to add that. Also bear in mind you need a few buckets. If you've only been using a few for the power wash plant and everything, I recommend getting around about 10 just to be on the safe side. So now that we have all of that set up, what we can do is we want 2 other hog pans with pumps. So we'll add those. Although you don't necessarily need to add 2, you should have one already, but I'm just doing it for the total costs. And then we want 2 of these hog pan sluice box cores, and you want 2 of these extensions as well. So we will add those. And then with that, you should already have 4 of these with your first ever setup, unless you've sold it, but we need a few of those as well. So run out of storage slots, so we'll just get rid of all of these. Okay, so next, as I said, we need 8 of these altogether, so 264. And then now for the big equipment. So miner's moss. These go into your sluice boxes. So each sluice box takes 6, so we need 12 of these altogether. So you see it takes quite a lot of storage slots, so 4,000 for those. And then to go on top of those, we need the miner's grill. So each sluice box has 3 of these, so we need 6 of these altogether, which is 6,000. And then the sluice box grate, which goes to the main sluice box that goes from the shaker to the trommel, you need 4 of these in total. But you can see these take a lot of storage slots, which is where it gets a little bit awkward. You keep having to buy stuff, order it, and etc. But that is just under 14,000. So the total price of everything you need, I'm going to show on screen now, so you know how much you need to save. So that's everything from the little shop, and then plus whatever your machines cost as well. So now that's all our shopping list done, we are going to head back to the claim, and I will show you how to set it all up and put it all together. Okay, so here we are. We have our cables attached to our excavator, just dumping that stuff over there. So now we're going to go and set up our tier 3. So we're going to work from the bottom up to the top. So we're going to grab our duplex jigs first. The trick is to make sure that you pick them the right way up, because they will snap into place, but they have to be the correct orientation. If they're the wrong way around, they won't click into place, and it can be a bit of a nightmare. So what we're going to do first of all is line it all up nice and straight. So we'll just fling this round. Now if I remember rightly, there's a spout at the front that has to kind of be facing outwards, if I remember rightly. So cables there should be good. So we need to spin this round. I'm pretty sure that is the exit, if I remember rightly. So to spin this round, we're going to kind of do it in a little bit of a weird, unorthodox way. So we're going to get these front ones over this side, and as we lift it, it should untangle itself and spin itself round. So we're going to do that. We're going to do this one over here. Yep, that one there, and this one here. So I will showcase the first one, and then I'll go ahead and get the other one set up, and then we'll go from there. So what we're going to do here now is we're just going to open this bucket. That should lift it up quite nicely. Okay, so it's going to kind of put the cables the way I don't want. So we're going to just lift the boom up like this, and hopefully it should spin itself round. It's not going to want to though, so ever so slightly annoying. Let's see if we can open the bucket, see if it will spin itself round. No, hopefully when we start moving it should spin itself round, but we shall see. Normally they do spin themselves round and untangle themselves, but it doesn't look like it wants to this time round. Kind of annoying, but we should be okay, unless we are in the correct orientation as it stands. Don't think we are though, to be honest. Okay, so we're just going to use the ground and spin it round, and hopefully by the time it gets over there, yeah, there we go, perfect. So as you can see, it kind of snaps into place. So we'll get that one done, we'll get the other one done, and then we will showcase where the rest of it goes basically. But it's all self-explanatory, but we can get there. Okay, so now we're going to do these sluice boxes just here. So as we can see, we know what's out and we know what's in, so we know the orientation needs to go. So this one needs to be at the front, so we're going to have to kind of pick it up in this orientation just to make lives easier for ourselves. I mean, we probably could pick it up that way, go up to the top and drop it down, but I think it will be easier if we just spin ourselves round like this, and then we should be able to just pick it up and drive it around to the front and do it that way. So what we can probably do is close this bucket now. We can probably drop this right down. That shouldn't be an issue at all. So we'll just do that. We'll pop out here, connect these cables up, and we'll get this all in place. So we don't want any crisscrossing. This should just go in quite nicely. This one here is this one. Perfect. Okay, so the other thing you want to bear in mind when loading things like this as well is the cables can snap. If anything, something is too heavy, or for instance you get it snagged on a tree or anything like that, the cables can snap, and it can be a little bit of a nightmare. So there we go. As you can see, took a little bit of a while, but we managed to get that snapped into place. So we're just going to do the same for the next one, and then the trommel is basically going to go on top of that. That's kind of self-explanatory, but we'll do all of that from the top. That's going to be the best way to do that lot. So we'll get this last sluice box in place, and then we'll get the rest of it all in place, and then we just got to move the generator. The generator I'm probably going to put over there, hopefully, somewhere out the way. We have got plenty of cables if we want to do any extensions and sort of put it well out the way, but I don't want cables traveling too far, to be honest. Perfect. Okay, that one went in a little bit easier. So now we're going to go for the trommel. Okay, so yeah, there is 6 in each one by the looks of it. So I do need to buy some more of the miner's moss. So I got that number incorrect. So we will need to buy some more then, but we'll get the rest of it all set up first of all. This thing can be so slow sometimes. Obviously, once we've finished loading all this, we'll get rid of this so we don't have to pay rent, and we'll get the front end loader, and we'll just slowly but surely just start digging that lot out. So we'll do the trommel first, and I've got to try and remember what way round this actually goes now. So let's see if this shows us what way round. So the motor has to go at the back over in that direction. So we're loading it from the back. We do want to be over this way. So that looks good. We can go ahead and do that. We'll go ahead and spin this round. We'll bring this boom in, try and get this as central as possible, give as much room as we can. Okay, perfect. So let's go ahead and do this an easy way, because the hooks are kind of themselves in the middle. We will just go ahead, disconnect and reconnect them. So if you can't find your hooks and they do get a little bit stuck, that's not too much an issue. You can just do exactly what I did. So cables are too short there, so we're gonna have to try and do some maneuvering. So let's go ahead and see if this one will fit. No. Okay, so this is where the 5-meter cables are a little bit of a pain. So what we're going to do is we're going to bring this right down and connect it all up. That should be okay. Now we should be able to get those in there. Perfect. Where's this one? Don't know where that cable has gone, and we'll just do this little trick, make our lives a little bit easier. Perfect. Okay, so we've got that sorted. I'm gonna lift this up and bring this right around here. We're gonna spin ourselves. Oh, and that is a prime example of the cable snapping. So you do need to be careful, as I said, about the cable snapping, but hopefully, yeah, so even though the cable snapped, we still have got the cable, so that's where it's kind of ideal. But we'll just drop this back down. We'll put this cable in back on, so it's not under any serious amounts of strain. There we go. So basically I was moving it a bit too quick and it got a bit stuck on the ground, so that's basically why that happened. So we're just going to slowly come around here, and what we're going to do is we're going to go all the way up this hill, and we're just going to drop it straight down. It's going to be the best way to do it. So you can see the highlighted area of the trouble now. So we're just gonna go round here, and we're just gonna kind of drop it down. Okay, so we should be there or thereabouts. We're slowly, oh, okay. I thought I'd have to drop it down a little bit, but that snapped into place quite nicely. So that was pretty cool. Now we've just got these last 2 little bits to do, and then we've just got the shakeout and the generator move over, and then it will all be built, and we've just got to plumb it all in. Okay, so I get this one connected up quite nicely and quickly. Hopefully this one should be pretty simple to put into place. So we're going to go ahead and do that, lift this up, or might have to stretch this out a little bit more. There we go. Okay, so that basically goes right there where that hologram is. So that's pretty much where we're aiming for. So we're just going to reverse up here, and then we're just going to swing it all around, and hopefully it will snap into place. So we're going to go like that. Oh, went the wrong way then. And we're just going to, yeah, we'll swing it around, and hopefully it will snap into place. We hope. Yeah. Perfect. Okay, that was quite lucky. That was quite difficult to do, that one, especially at the angle I decided to take it at. So the next one is literally going to sit underneath it, so that shouldn't be too bad at all. Should be good to go with that one. So we just need to make sure we pick it the right way. So we've got in that side, out that side. So because we're going to go in from that angle, we want to be over on this side. We want in, then out. Okay, perfect. We'll bring this in, bring that down, kind of, yeah, I think that's going to be roughly about it. Connect that to there. perfect. Okay, yeah, we should be able to get this one in quite nicely. The most challenging one for us is probably going to be the generator. It's big, it's heavy, and yeah, it can be a little bit awkward. I've snapped many cables in the past trying to do it. Hopefully we're going to have a bit of success this time round. So I'll just make sure we're straight and let's get it moving. I'm hoping the excavator is going to fit in this gap because that's ideally what I want to do. I don't know if it is. I think we might have to kind of go round this way, which is going to be a little bit awkward, but we should be okay. Yeah, that's going pretty much where I want it. So we'll just shift and go down, move forward a little bit, and hopefully it snaps in. Perfect. Okay, so now we just need to pick up the shaker. Hopefully we get the shaker the right way around, because that's going to be the next awkward one, but we should be okay. We can always look at this. So the steel grate needs to be at the back, so that's fine. We can pick it up from this direction, from the back end, and we'll just lift it straight up and in. What we're going to do with the generator, we're going to fill it up with our mobile fuel tank first. Not all the way, because I want to save some fuel for the front end loader. But as you can see, turning the time multiplier to -1, it's still only 9:15 in the morning, so that's pretty good. Definitely makes our lives a little easier, that's for sure. I really did not want to move that generator, but okay, you do whatever floats your boat. Okay, so we want to be in the middle here, and we want to come down and we want to come in as best we can. Okay, so I think that's going to be the best way to do it. So we're going to hop out of here. Hopefully we can grab our cables, which are here. So where's that one? That one's down here. So we're going to lift it from there. So you can lift the shaker from the top or the bottom. I prefer to do it from the bottom just because we can lift it a bit higher if we need to. This one is that one over there. Perfect. Okay, this is going a lot smoother than I first thought, which is good. It's all going smoothly. I like it. So we'll just lift this up now, get to the camera angle I prefer, and there we go. We've lifted that. Perfect. So we'll go ahead and drop that into place. Nice and easy up there. We'll get the generator filled up. We'll probably just pick it up and move it over there, and then figure out where we want it. Perfect. Okay, so shaker's done. Now for the big boy machine. Okay, so we want to try and get this in the middle as much as possible. So what we're going to do is going to bring this down, bring the boom in, lift it up a little bit, and I think around about there is going to be good. So the good thing about this is we can just hop up here, disconnect, connect that one, do the same for this one. You can go around and do exactly the same for these. So this one's a bit easier to hook up the chains or the steel cables, whatever way round you want to. Okay, so get the right camera angle. We'll lift this up. Now with this one, you do have to extend, otherwise you won't be able to lift it high enough. So let's rotate it round. We'll press shift. We'll take it a little bit closer to our fuel. Be very careful, and then we can just drop it down a little bit. There we go. That should be all right. We should be able to fill this up now. It's kind of sat on our fuel tank, but that's not to worry. Where do we fill this up? I can't remember. Oh dear, I've apparently lost the I've lost the fuel trigger, which is a little bit awkward. So let's lift this back up and see if we can move backwards with it. There we go. That's kind of what I wanted to do. And let's drop it down there. That should be okay. So okay, the fuel nozzle is stuck somewhere. We'll fill it up here, do we? Okay, we'll fill that. We'll watch this. We'll probably want roughly about 40% in this, I think. We'll go down to 35% just to make sure we've got enough for the front end loader. We can always travel and fill it back up, that's not a problem. But yeah, we'll try and get this generator filled up to about halfway. That should be perfectly fine. So I think that will do for now. Okay, perfect. Let's go and get this thing in position, which is going to be the tricky part. Okay, so I want to try and lift this as high as possible, and then we can figure out where we're going to put it. So we want to kind of on the opposite side, because once we get the conveyor belt and the hopper, that's all going to go this side, so we kind of don't want it in the way of that. So we're just going to spin this round. It's swaying a little bit. We're going to try and avoid that too much if we can. Okay, so let's get it over here. We're going to try and position it over there somewhere. I'm not exactly sure where it's going exactly. Probably over here by this water tank, I reckon. Just over there should be pretty good. In fact, I'll tell you what we could do is we could put it here. We're gonna, yeah, we could put it there. I don't think anything else goes there, so we could potentially put it here. But we cut. Oh, cable snapped. Need to be careful. Definitely need to be careful. Okay, let's try and slow this down a little bit. Oh, okay, we're in trouble. Okay, let's put this down a little bit, I think. Okay, perfect. So if we put that down and try and drag it this way, that's it. Keep going. Keep coming. Perfect. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to position this in a slightly better angle out there. We're going to rearrange these cables so I can pick it up this direction, just lift it straight up. So we're going to go yeah, so we're going to take this one, put this over here. We're going to take this cable, pop that there, pop that one there, and then we are also going to grab this one and put it over there. I'm not sure where the other cable's gone. I thought it would have been down here on the floor somewhere, but looks like that one's gone missing. So we'll have to make do with 3. We'll just have to be extra careful. So we'll just lift it up ever so slightly and we'll just lift. There we go. Okay, that's not what I wanted it to do. I didn't want it to spin like that. That's fine. That's kind of good actually. It's kind of not 100% how I wanted it, but it is kind of better. So we'll just pop that, I think, over here. Yeah, it looks pretty good like that, to be honest. That will do quite nicely. It's kind of out the way, so yeah, I'm happy with that. So we're going to go ahead and grab these, toss them off the end of there for a minute, and that is our generator in place as well. So all is looking good. All we need to do now, we'll leave those cables there, is get it all plumbed in and set up. So all of our plugs are going to be on this side, so we can't see them, which is pretty good. And then we need to make our way over to here, and we've got our water as well, and we also need a blue one for there and a blue one for there. So that's, yeah, pretty good. Perfect. Okay, so let's go ahead and we will get all of this sort of wired in and everything else. We'll leave the excavator for now just in case we need it. But what we're going to do is oh yeah, I left the truck down here with the pump attached, so that's fine. What we're going to do is just start disconnecting some cables. So we need this blue one over here. So we've got yellow, we've got 2 blue cables. Oh yeah, one goes all the way down to there and this one here. So we're going to go ahead and wind this one up. Oh, no, we're not. We're going to wind this one up. Okay, so we get this one plugged in. Wow, that's a little awkward. I can't get round here apparently. Oh, have I put this in the wrong places? I think I've kind of put this in the wrong place because I can't actually get over here. Oh no. Okay, so we're gonna have to move this forward, I guess. Okay, so I decided to move the generator to over here. Gives us a little bit more access because, yeah, I admittedly I completely messed up the placement of that, but that's okay. We've got that cable in, and now what we're going to do is grab the cable from this extension. I'm hoping this is going to be long enough to reach all the way, otherwise we will be having to use this extension as well, but we're going to try and avoid that if we can. Okay, perfect. So we'll go ahead and get that connected. I'm not sure if it's going to reach all the way over there, but we're going to try. So that's that. I'm going to go all the way along here, and perfect, it reaches. That's all I wanted. That's absolutely perfect. Okay, so now what we can do is we can get our hog pans and that all built up actually. So we're going to put this here. We can grab the other bits from our other little section as well. We'll go ahead and do that, and then we'll get our hog pan. We also need some of these smaller mats as well, but not too worried about those at the moment. So that's those sorted. We can go ahead and get these. There we go. Okay, so yeah, so we'll go ahead and get all of these mats done a little bit later. We do want to try and get this pump into place, so that's what we're going to do next. We'll get that pump in. We'll go with these sleeve spots grates. I'll just show you where they go roughly. But you don't need to worry too much as everything is kind of labeled as and when you pick it up. So obviously we've got these sleeve spots grates that go here, and then these grates will go, these ones here, they will go at the bottom over here. So we can put one down here where we've got our minus moss. There we go. So that's where they go as well. So quite simple, but let's go ahead and get our pump all sorted. So where are we going to put our pump is a very big question. So what I'm probably going to do is back it up right over here, probably next to the caravan where them ones are, and we'll just kind of pump it that way. Yeah, so what I'm going to do is quickly disconnect all of this because we don't need those anyway. Get rid of that, pop that over here for now. I'm gonna go ahead and disconnect this. We'll pop that over here as well, and then we can go ahead and just coil that up, pop that over there, coil this one up a little bit, pop that there. Just basically want to get these moves out of the way more than anything. Okay, perfect. We'll get this lot over here as well. Okay, so we'll get this backed in here, and then we'll get all of this lot connected as well. So this is going to be a little bit of a longer episode, but there is a lot of prep work to do. Unfortunately, it's one of those things. So we'll just pop the pump, get that a little bit straighter about there. Pretty good if you ask me. That should do quite well right there. So we'll pop that, we'll get this truck moved out the way, and there we go. Okay, I did put the handbrake on. I don't remember if I put the handbrake on or not. So we're going to go ahead and get this. So this is in. We're going to drag this all the way around here, and we're going to dump this into the water just like that. While we're here, we might as well disconnect that. We'll grab this lot. I'm hoping, and this is a hog pan with the pump, but I'm hoping we should be able to still use this. No, we can't. Okay, so I'll need to sell that, which is fine. We can sell that, and then we can go ahead and purchase another one without the pump. So we'll chuck that over here for now. This one here, I'm not sure what's going on with that pipe, but there we go. And then we can go ahead and pop that just here. Now, the reason being is because we're going to get our splitter. We're going to pop that here. Boom. Okay. And now we need one of these fat water hoses, which we do have one over here. Don't need the filter, so we'll get rid of that. We will wind this up a little bit. Perfect. Okay. So we should have a water supply here, so we can go just like that, and then from here as well we can probably get another one down here, and we can have our magnetite separator and everything over here, or we could put it somewhere over here, but no, I think down there should be pretty good. So we can connect it to one of these, and then yeah, job's good and really. So we've got power to those. We have water there with the pump. Probably need to fill that up with diesel, which to be honest, I have got some diesel here, so we'll just chuck that in there. Not sure how much that's going to fill that up by, but we shall see. We'll probably have to do another run with the refillable pump. Okay, so there we go. That's it all pretty much set up. So I've moved the wavetable and the magnetite separator, everything down here. Bucket placement, you have 2 on each of the duplex jigs. We've just got to finish up setting the hog pans, so we'll do that as well. One thing I did forget to show how to set up properly anyway is your sluice box grids, which are just here on this big sluice box, and then you've got your miner's moss and your grates down here, and then obviously your hog pan mats there. So let's just clarify. I can't remember what parts I recorded and what I didn't, but just to clarify where we're routing everything, pretty sure I showed you how to set up the pump. So we've got obviously our back water hose going into our shaker, the main flow of water. The second one I've put here, and that goes into a splitter, as I said in the shop, which then goes into your small hoses for the nuggeteer, the magnetite separator, and the wavetable. So we're now going to hook up another section for the hog pan with pumps. So as I said, we need the hog pan with pumps. So in the older, it used to work with this. This unfortunately I'm probably going to lose unless I can dig it out with my shovel. Let's see if I can. Nope. Apparently I can't dig out my shovel, so we might have a problem. That's a little bit of waste. Never mind. Okay, so we're going to get another fat water hose from here, hook it up to our connector, and we are just going to drop it down here somewhere. See if we can hop over here before I get myself stuck. We'll just drop that down there. I think we'll grab our splitter, not the car jack. Little tip, especially if you've got parts and vehicle damage turned on, always carry a nice little car jack with you in your pickup truck. You are bound to have a few issues with your tires. So that's that one sorted. We're going to hook up to this pump here. There we go. And then we're going to hook up to this other pump, and we should be good to rock and roll. So go ahead and pop that in there. There we go. Perfect. We will go ahead and pop these in here, I think. Not that we're going to be able to do much with them now. Okay, so that's all that set up. So obviously we've got a bucket here for the nuggeteer, just in case you didn't know, and 2 here for the magnetite separator. Cable wise, as I said, we have 1 high voltage power going over to our shaker, 1 to our trommel straight from here, and then the 3rd one goes into a power splitter, which then feeds the nuggeteer, the magnetite separator, and the wavetable. Let me just get rid of the HUD so you can see a bit better. And then for the 2 duplex jigs, I've run them straight here with the low voltage power cables just here. So that's pretty much how you need to set it all up. Obviously we've got our water pump, so that is all good to go. So let's talk a bit more about what I meant with having to use the front end loader. So this is where the conveyor belt and the hopper will sit, which we haven't got yet because they are very expensive. So to start with, we will be using the front end loader. So let's go ahead, let's switch this all on so you can see it in operation, and then we'll load it all up and we will see what kind of money we can make off our fast little run. In fact, what we'll do, so what we'll do is we'll get this all started. We'll do a little time lapse. We'll try and get all of these from 9% up to 100%, and we'll see what kind of yield we get straight off the bat with our fast little load, shall we? Okay, so this should be the last bucket, and then I will show you how to remove the miner's moss and use the gold nuggeteer and all of that good stuff. So we'll just grab this bucket in here. Yep, we are all full. Okay, so we'll hop out of here. Miner's moss is all full. This one probably won't reach 100%, but we'll settle for 99%. That is perfectly fine. Okay, so what we want to do is we want to go ahead and turn all of this lot off apart from these 3 here. So we're going to head over to the power generator. Good thing about this one, so in case I didn't explain, we've got start all and stop all, and then we've got individual switches here, so we can go ahead and stop the duplex jigs, stop that, and we just want our power splitter. Okay, so once we have turned off the power, we are going to turn off the water here as well. We need to turn off the water before we empty the sluice box grates, so we're kind of gonna just jump over here. So you can place a bucket in here. Even though there's 3 slots, apparently you can only place 1 bucket, which is a little bit awkward. But anyway, we're going to dig this up here and pop it into the bucket. We're just going to continue doing that, and that will fill up. So you only need to do it twice and we can fill up this bucket. So there is 4 of these which should fill up 1 bucket completely. So that's how we go about emptying these sluice box grates, and then we're going to shove this through the magnetite separator. So perfect. Okay, so there we have 1 bucket ready. So we're going to pop this down here. That one needs to go into the magnetite separator, which actually, to be honest, we could probably just go ahead and pop that in there. So that gives us that 25%. Next, we have these miner's mosses here. So we're going to remove these grates. We can pick up these 2 at a time. We're just going to drop those. These we can pick up 2 at a time as well. And we're going to pop these into our gold nuggeteer. So we're going to grab these, pop them in there. So the gold nuggeteer will end up doing 1 of these. So we'll just leave those there for now. Okay, there we go. We can go ahead and do that. Just going to see if we can actually turn on the water, and we can just empty those as the water's flowing through. I believe we can. That will just make things a little bit quicker. So we will start that, and we can head on down here. I'm pretty sure we can, so that shouldn't be a problem. We are now going to start our gold nuggeteer. That will empty it down here into the bucket. Okay, we have a lack of water supply apparently. No, we have got water there. Okay, so we're using too much water. That is a problem. So what we're going to do is we're going to head up here, and we are going to just quickly disconnect this one. That will save us a little bit of water, and then we should be good to go with this lot. So yep, perfect. So using the gold nuggeteer, we can quickly clean these. We can put those back into there, put the grates on, grab the others. So I'll go ahead and do that, and I'll show you what to do next. So as you can see, 1 operation of the nugget has filled the bucket by 30%, so don't have to worry about emptying that too much. So we'll get this one done, then I'll show you a neat little trick that you can also do with the nugget. Perfect. Okay, so we'll get these back in, and then I'll show you what else we can do with the nugget as well. As I said, this isn't just a guide for setting up tier 3, it's also operation and giving you some little tips to make sure you're getting the best out of this sort of setup. So we'll quickly get these last little miners moss in here. Perfect. We'll get the grate back on, and there we go. So now what you can also do with the nugget here is you can also put the hog pan mats in. So with the minus moss, 1 per minus moss per grate, the good thing about this is that these little hog pan mats, you can fit 2 on each little grate. So we're going to go ahead and do that, and we're going to fire that up as well. So there we go. That should fill up this bucket to around about 90%, which is going to be pretty spot on for 100. Oh, even better, I kind of underestimated that. We have got 100%, so we can shove this in the magnetite separator. That will take that up to 50%. We'll get the last little bit of that off. We'll pop that in there as well. Make sure we get it all. We will flick this off. We will go ahead and put the mats while this is being done. So we've also got the duplex jigs as well. We've got loads of buckets at 100%. So we can grab one of these, put that in the magnetite separator. Then the magnetite separator will roughly give or take a little bit, take 400% buckets. So we'll pop those in there. And now we can flick the magnetite separator on and let that do its thing. So the 100% of the magnetite separator should provide us with four buckets at 100% to go into the wave table. Maybe a little bit more, but we shall see. We'll go ahead and put those in there. So yeah, 4 buckets. We can go ahead and put this gold into the wave table, and that will give us 50%, and we'll just keep doing this, and then we'll see how much gold we have at the end of it. So get these hog pan mats back in. Beautiful. Okay, we're going to go ahead and grab our other 2 buckets from our duplex jig. Might as well pop them straight in there, and we're going to go pop this in here as well. So we are going to see the gold yield after this. It's probably not going to be the best, but that's because I've just been digging out this slot here. So as you can see, to fill this slot up 100%, we've dug a fair bit of gold. We're just trying to make enough gold to get the conveyor belt and the hopper, because then we can use the drill, pick decent spots of land, use the dump truck, and we are going to make serious amounts of profit. So we're just going to go ahead, carry on doing this, get this all done, and then we'll go ahead and see how much gold we've actually yielded. So while the last bucket is loading up, obviously this is why I like them all close together. Maximum efficiency here. So we'll just move that out the way, and our last bucket, 93%, not too bad. We'll pop that in there, wait for that to finish. And before this one finishes, if anyone can guess how much gold we have at the end of it, I'll pick a winner, or the one that's closest to it, within say 100 grams. I'll shout you out in the next video, and I'll pin your comment. So there we are, everything has finished processing, and we have 1,197 grams of gold. So whoever said the number 1200, well, congratulations to you. You weren't far off at all. But I will pin you in the next video of the series. So we also have 11% of magnetite. We do need to get ourselves a magnetite trailer, but we're not going to worry too much about that as of yet. So because of this issue up here, just before we end off, a little tip as well, we could go ahead and separate or disconnect that one for our 3 components over there, because we don't need them. So might as well save water, get maximum flow pushing through this as much as we can. So there we are, everyone, and there is your ultimate guide to tier 3, how to set it all up, some little tips and tricks, and how to get the most efficiency out of it. If you have enjoyed the video, make sure you hit that like button, make sure you subscribe to the channel as well, and check out the Let's Play series. I'll leave the link in the description down below. It's been Kryptonite here, thank you all for watching, and I will see you in the next video.